Most of us chase fresh air to feel alive. A sunrise hike, a quick jog, a weekend under the stars. But when isolation meets the wrong stranger, those same wide-open spaces can close in like a coffin. 4 true accounts prove that the scariest stories don't begin with creaking mansions. They start with harmless routines that spool suddenly, violently, out of control. Listen close, and you may rethink the trail you walk tomorrow. Evan had logged 800 solo miles of the Pacific Crest Trail when the first warning sign appeared. Rounding a barren bend in Northern California, he nearly tripped over a couple perched on a boulder. Sun-bleached clothes the color of bone, faces streaked with dirt, eyes fixed on him yet empty of greeting. Evan shrugged it off. Other thru-hikers sometimes embraced grime and silence, but a chill nagged as he hiked on. That night, he strung his leftover food in a tree, 5 feet up, then ringed the campsite with dry twigs that would snap under any weight. Dawn broke to an eerie stillness. The food bag was gone. No bear tracks, only 2 sets of boot prints circling his gear. Evan pictured the white-clad pair and felt his pulse hammer. They were hungry, that's all, he reasoned. Yet every dusk afterward, he widened his twig alarm and slept with a knife across his chest. 3 nights later, the twigs cracked. Whispering slithered between cedars. Too soft to locate, too human to dismiss. Footsteps padded around the nylon. Evan gripped his knife and held his breath, while minutes felt like entire watches of the night. The whispering ceased. Morning revealed the same boot prints, looping the tent like a lazy figure 8. He tried to stay rational. Hunger, maybe harmless curiosity. Still, he began marking the trail with small stone cairns so he could spot disturbances behind him. By week's end, Evan climbed above the tree line. From a rocky alcove, he glanced back along the exposed ridge and saw 2 white specks winding toward him, impossibly far yet unmistakable. Panic snapped his resolve. He veered off trail toward the highway town of Castella, bushwhacking through thorn scrub until darkness forced him to camp miles from any blaze mark. Again came the shuffling, the murmurs, and this time a flashlight raking across nylon. Evan burst from the tent, yelling, crashing through trees until he wedged himself beneath a fallen trunk. While pinned there, he heard the couple's steps pass within arm's reach, smelled their sour sweat, and sensed, rather than saw, them crouch, listening for him. Hours crawled past. Only at dawn did he find the trail and limp 30 exhausting miles to Interstate 5. Mount Shasta police logged his report. Rangers admitted other hikers had complained of missing supplies, never of terrorizing. No arrests followed. Evan now hikes with groups, always camps in established sites, and carries a personal locator beacon. Yet any glimpse of sun-bleached clothing on a trail spikes his heartbeat. Fireworks night was supposed to be peaceful for Jade. Her dog hated the noise, so she skipped the county fair and let him roam the fenced backyard while the neighborhood emptied toward the fairground. That's when a white pickup cruised down her sleepy street, braked, then rolled into the unlit road department lot across from her hilltop home. Jade had seen folks dump old mattresses there, victimless enough, but this driver heaved 3 knotted black trash bags into the hopper of an idle garbage truck. No furniture, no boxes, just those swollen bags. Something inside Jade's gut pinched harder than any fireworks boom. She dialed the local police, half embarrassed, half certain she'd regret silence more than suspicion. Officer Martinez arrived within minutes, climbed into the truck's hopper, and slit one bag. He needed only a glance before stumbling back, face bleached under flashing red-blue lights. "It's a body," he muttered, voice quaking. Backup swarmed in, county sheriff, coroner, crime scene tape fluttering like grim streamers. Jade handed over her porch cam footage. Grainy shots of the truck, no plate visible, driver's face shadowed. While detectives combed the lot, Jade listened from her porch as neighbors drifted home, confused by the patrol cars. One elderly couple whispered that the county fair's midway lights still flickered behind the trees, like a second grotesque carnival here on the street. The sheriff later told Jade, off record, that the victim's remains suggested professional dismemberment, precise cuts, heavy-duty plastic liner inside each bag. Whoever dumped them brought an industrial tarp to keep the truck bed clean, then took it with him. Rumors sprouted fast. Some insisted it was cartel. Others swore it had to be a traveling butcher who knew municipal schedules. A week later, Jade's mailbox overflowed with neighborhood watch flyers, urging residents to install cameras and record license plates. She hosted coffee for officers, canvassing the block, replaying the clips so often she memorized every squeak of the pickup's brakes. The coroner quietly confirmed the victim as a local man missing since spring. Investigators traced his last phone ping to a closed machine shop 10 miles out. Its owner, a quiet hobbyist welder. mysteriously on vacation. Most chilling. The dump site's obscurity meant the killer knew the town's blind spots, likely lived among them. Jade still walks her terrier past the fire station every dawn. The garbage truck sits behind fresh chain link now, a security camera blinking above it. Yet each sunrise reminds her that a single uneasy twinge can illuminate a crime the world might otherwise bury forever. Lunch hour on Florida's Pine Lane Nature Trail had been Beth's sanctuary. 2 breezy miles, earbuds in, mind clear. Then, one Tuesday, a stranger matched her stride. Medium height, wrong season jeans, crooked grin. "Good afternoon. Name's Chuck," he called. Beth offered a polite nod and kept pace steady. The next noon, he was seated on a bench. "Beth, right?" he asked, as though they were regulars. She'd never shared her name. Red flags whipped in her mind. Over the week, the pattern escalated. Some days he trailed her, others he waited ahead. His chatter stayed casual, her shoes, her timing, but each comment proved he'd memorized her routine. Beth shifted walks earlier. He appeared earlier. She switched to evenings. He emerged at dusk. Off-trail, she began noticing a battered van parked sporadically near her apartment complex, a van that vanished whenever she raised her phone as if to photograph it. Fear stole her trail, her sleep, her appetite. She stopped wearing earbuds, stopped parking in the same spot, yet still felt eyes tracing her. One humid Monday, she returned to her car and found a note under the wiper. "I like your routine. See you soon." Her hands shook as she stuffed it in a glove box. That night, she Googled self-defense drills, ordered a can of pepper spray, and placed a call to her older brother, a deputy 2 counties over, for advice. "Patterns are comfort for you and road maps for creeps," he warned. Defiance flared. Donning sunglasses and a hoodie, pepper spray in pocket, she stepped back onto the path one cloudy morning. Halfway through, hurried footsteps closed in. Chuck's eyes locked on hers, smile gone. "You weren't supposed to stop coming," he hissed. Beth drew her spray. "Back off!" He lunged. Mist scorched his face. He screamed, clawing at his eyes. Beth sprinted but didn't reach the lot alone. 2 joggers intercepted, holding Chuck until deputies arrived. At the station, he surrendered the truth. Real name Bradley, drifting for years. Prior restraining orders in 3 states. He'd been squatting in an abandoned cabin yards off the trail, watching her arrive daily, noting the exact minute she passed each mile marker. When officers searched the cabin, they found multiple phones loaded with candid photos of women, a spiral notebook listing license plates, and duct tape next to a hunting knife. Beth pressed charges, won an injunction, and eventually reclaimed her lunchtime walk, only now with the spray clipped to her belt, eyes sweeping the tree line every quarter mile. She had proved that predators thrive on patterns. Break yours, and you break their grip. October's maple blaze lured Drew, Chelsea, and their golden retriever Rocco into North Carolina's Appalachian backcountry. No campground reservation, just Jeep's coordinates from an old forum promising flat ground and creek lullabies. The trio spent Saturday roasting s'mores, counting meteors, laughing at Rocco's mud-splashed zoomies. Peace settled like leaf fall. Near 1 a.m. Sunday, Drew snapped awake. Rocco sat rigid, nose aimed at one tent wall. A soft scrape whispered across the nylon. "Shh, pause." No wind ruffled the fly. No branches brushed fabric. Chelsea's whisper quavered. "What is that?" Drew's flashlight trembled in his grip. The scraping halted. He unzipped the flap, beam slicing trees. Nothing but silent trunks. Rocco burst out, barking, circling the clearing. Again, nothing. They lay sleepless until dawn. Outside the rear of the tent, 3 words had been etched with something sharp, letters clean as fresh paint. "Still watching you." Drew's mouth went dry. Chelsea pressed shaking fingers to the carved message. Whoever wrote it had knelt inches from their heads, knowing morning light would deliver the shock. As they broke camp, Drew noticed something else. The fire pit had been rearranged. Stones that had formed a circle the night before now outlined a crude arrow pointing toward the trail they would need to take out. Rocco sniffed the rocks and whined, tail between legs. Chelsea found a single cigarette butt by their packs. Fresh ash, filter crushed flat as if snuffed in a hurry. They hustled the 1.5 miles to their Subaru, ears straining for any footstep behind them. Halfway, Rocco froze and growled at a clump of rhododendron. Drew glimpsed a glint, metal, an eye, before it vanished deeper into the brush. The drive home felt like a slow crawl through a tunnel of mirrors. Every switchback seemed to breed headlights that tailed them for a mile, then peeled off. Back at their apartment, the couple unpacked with forced normalcy. Chelsea scrubbed the tent, but refused to patch the slashed words. She wanted the scar, she said, as proof they hadn't imagined it. Drew filed a report with forest rangers, who shrugged. No permits, no suspects, no crime scene to secure. For weeks after, Rocco snarled at shadows by the patio door exactly at 1 a.m., like some invisible visitor still punched a clock. The tent now sits in a plastic tub, never again unrolled. Autumn still paints the slopes every year, but Drew and Chelsea rent a lakeside cabin when they crave leaf color. Solid walls, deadbolt, and curtains, they draw tight before midnight. From alpine ridges to sleepy streets, sunny trails to moonlit clearings, each of these 4 encounters began with a simple comfort, a favorite pastime, a familiar schedule, a quick getaway. Then one choice, a wordless couple, a suspicious pickup, a grinning drifter, a single scrape, split ordinary life from nightmare. If these accounts rattled you, share your own close calls below. And before your next hike or holiday night drive, remember, the safest path is the one you never walk on autopilot. Stay alert, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video, where comfort meets caution and survival rides on a single decision.